Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and today it's a peanut butter head-to-head from Grand Armory. Nut of Your Business is a 5% milk stout, and bourbon barrel aged Nut of Your Business is a 10% bourbon barrel aged imperial stout, both from Grand Armory Brewing in Grand Haven, Michigan. Once upon a time, I recorded a review for Nut of Your Business, but it was one of those situations where I just didn't have time to post it. Something else came out, or just kind of fell too far back in the pipeline. It happens sometimes. Well, this time, I don't only have Nut of Your Business, I also have the bourbon barrel aged version for good measure as well for today's head-to-head. Now, if you're not familiar with these head-to-head videos, this is where I like to look at two different beers of similar styles and make a direct comparisons. Usually it's two different IPAs or, similar IPAs, Midwest style IPA, stuff like that. But in this case, it's going to be the same base beer. One's going to be the barrel-aged version. One's going to be the regular base version, obviously. So let's take a look at the labels. I'll tell you what the differences are, and we'll get down to business. So first off, we'll look at Nut of Your Business Stout. This is the 5% Milk Stout from Grand Armory. It's the same kind of Grand Armory general can design. It says Right to Bear Craft. It has their logo, Grand Armory Brewing, and Nut of Your Business Peanut Butter Stout. And it's a bunch of guys standing around with briefcases in the background, and it says 5% alcohol by volume. And then on the side, it says Nut of Your Business Peanut Butter Stout, Creamy Peanut Butter Milk Stout, brewed and packaged by Grand Armory Brewing Company in Grand Haven, Michigan. Contains peanuts and lactose. Please drink responsibly. And this is dated. That's kind of a relatively new thing for Grand Armory, at least in the past 6 months or so. And this was packaged on 9/26th, which is September 26th. This is November, which I'm recording this, but I'm not too worried because stouts generally hold up a little bit better than some other styles of beer. And then we'll move on to the bourbon barrel aged version. It is almost the exact same can, just it looks like it's in a barrel rather than just the regular peanut butter looking can. It has Right to Bear Craft, Grand Armory Brewing, Barrel Aged Nut of Your Business, and instead of the guys holding the briefcases, they're standing in barrels. And it says 10% alcohol by volume, 12 fluid ounces. And then on the side, it says Barrel Aged Nut of Your Business Peanut Butter Stout, Barrel Aged Peanut Butter Oatmeal Stout. So the other one's a milk stout. Nut of Your Business is a milk stout, and the bourbon barrel aged version is an oatmeal stout, not filtered or pasteurized, recommended to store cold and drink fresh. It doesn't say anything about peanuts and lactose on this one. So maybe that's where some of our differences are going to come in right away. I didn't even realize that they were two different things. So I'm going to grab my newer Belgian glasses. I know this really isn't the kind of beer glass that you want to use for these, but I figure, hey, these are new glasses. Let's break them into some quality beers. I've had Nut of Your Business, not recently, but I know I've had it in the past. Like I said, I recorded that video. I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to go ahead and crack that one first. Oh, and the barrel-aged version was canned or packaged in March. So again, stouts hold on a little bit better, during packaging. And this one's from March, and it's a 10%. I have no worries that it's going to be just like the original, iteration of this beer when they put it out. It did say to drink fresh, but I'm sure that it'll be just okay. So let's go ahead and crack this. This is Nut of Your Business, the Milk Stout. And let's put a nose on the can. Wow. Immediately opening it up, you get a lot of peanut butter smell. I am a person that I don't get a lot of peanut butter flavor out of beers sometimes. It just kind of depends on what they use. Sometimes I get more of a peanut dusty kind of flavor than I do. I get a big peanut aroma, but not a lot of flavor. We'll see how this one fares. So let's go ahead and pour it. It is on the lighter side for a stout. It's a little bit more of a caramel color, not as cola as some stouts can look, or like an oil kind of, can look, or an oil color. So let's go ahead and I'm going to set this over here, the can over here. Let's go ahead and put a nose on the glass. Lots of peanut butter, lots of sweet aroma coming through there. It smells absolutely delicious. It smells like a lot of peanuts. And holding it up to the light, it has a little bit of a kind of light brown hue, but very dark up top. Head really nicely holding on. A khaki colored, maybe a little bit darker, again, kind of close to coffee. And let's go ahead and open this barrel aged version. This one, again, like I said, is a little bit older. Nose on the can here. Not so much of the peanut butter aroma. I mean, this is like knock you down peanut butter. This has Relatively none compared to this, but it has a slight kind of aroma to it. So let's go ahead and let's move this out of the way so I can get a better pour. You can get a better look at the pour. Okay. That is a lot darker, a lot more of that kind of dark brown color. This one was a little bit lighter. Heads, or this one is a little bit darker of a head. They look very similar color-wise. Getting more peanut now out of the glass. Also getting a little bit of a bourbon barrel kind of look, and the color itself is a little bit more of a, I want to say it's a little bit more of a purplish kind of color. Let's hold these up next to each other just to get a better idea. I mean, they look very similar. This one, the Nut of Your Business, does look a little bit more on the brown side, a little bit more on the tannish kind of side, but it's still very dark. So I'm going to jump into Nut of Your Business, the regular kind, and then we'll jump into the barrel-aged version. Again, a milk stout and an oatmeal stout. I'm very surprised that they're two different kind of varieties, even though they have the same name. One's barrel-aged. It's got a nice creamy, a little bit on the lighter side mouthfeel-wise, but very creamy tasting, or very creamy texture on the tongue. It's got a nice sweetness to it, a lot of peanut butter in the aroma as you drink, and a little bit of a peanut flavor for me kind of hanging out on the back of my tongue. I like that. It's not overpoweringly peanut butter, but it's much more than peanut dust, like I get on some. So that's Nut of Your Business. That's the milk stout, and this is the oatmeal stout, but barrel aged. Again, it kind of opened up a little bit more than it did in the can. I'm getting a little bit more of the kind of peanut buttery aroma, but I'm also getting a little bit of that barrel aroma as well. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into that one. Much thicker mouthfeel, much more chocolate flavor in the tail end. The peanut butter's there, but it's a little bit more subtle and a little more sweet. And I kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards this one. It has this kind of baker's chocolate, kind of bittersweet or bitter kind of chocolate thing hanging out on the back of my palate. Get another taste. The peanut that comes through, because I think the bourbon barrel aging process kind of sweetens whatever kind of peanut buttery kind of flavor there is in there, that peanut kind of flavor. It kind of just brings it up. It makes everything taste a little bit creamier, a little bit thicker, a little bit smoother. 10%, extremely dangerous, because I don't taste anything close to 10% out of this one. And again, that can be extremely dangerous if you're not, keeping aware that it's 10%. Let's go back to the Nut of Your Business here. I really like Nut of Your Business, don't get me wrong, and it's the one obviously that I tried first, and when I tried it the first time, I really enjoyed it. But I think this one's going to have to go to the bourbon barrel aged version. And for me, it doesn't always do that. Now, it says it's an oatmeal stout, but I'm getting more of kind of a milky, creamy kind of flavor. Again, that could be from the oats that are used in the oatmeal stout. Oatmeal stouts are still very sweet, but they're a little bit more on the dry side, where milk stouts are a little bit more on the sweeter side, without the dryness. I'm not able to pick out the dryness out of this one, especially. If I had to pick between the two, which that's why it's a head-to-head, I'm going to pick the bourbon barrel-aged version, but let me kind of explain that. So Nut of Your Business is a 5% stout. It's great if you're just going to have a stout, you're going to have a couple, you're preparing to, you want to drink a few beers, you don't want to just drink one or maybe two. You could drink 3 or 4 of these, obviously plan accordingly to that. But I think you could drink probably 3, 4 of these and get away with it and not feel too overly buzzed if you drink, regularly, or you have somewhat of a tolerance. It's 5%. That's not very high in this day and age. Most beers kind of start at like 6% now. Now, I do like the barrel-aged version more, but there's also the kind of disclaimer that it's 10%. So you're going to probably drink 1 or 2 of these, and you probably should be responsible and just kind of call it a night at that. Maybe it's like a nightcap, so to speak. But, you know, if I had to pick, if the alcohol percentage wasn't, you know, it was kind of like not a factor, I would go for the barrel aged version every time. I'd probably still go for the barrel aged version if I could get it. And I probably, you know, Nut of Your Business, nothing against Nut of Your Business, but it's just a lower ABV beer. They're different tastes. You get a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more creaminess, a little bit more sweet peanut butter flavor, and a little bit more of that kind of cocoa, you know, baker's chocolate kind of flavor out of the barrel aged version. If stouts, if you're not a dark beer person and you're like, I want to try a stout, but I don't want to try something so heavy as this. It sounds great. All the flavors that you're saying sound great, but I don't want to jump in the deep end that quickly on this. Then Nut of Your Business 5%. It's a dark beer by appearance. It's not super overwhelmingly dark on the flavor, if you catch my drift on that. It's got a lightness to it. It's a stout, but it has a lightness to it. It has a lot of flavor. It has a lot of sweetness in there. It's really just a nice kind of dessert kind of beer when you're not wanting to go way overboard on the percentage on the ABV. This is a good dessert beer if you don't mind the percentage on ABV. Again, this is a head-to-head, so I have to pick, and I've already kind of mentioned what my pick is, but just to reiterate, I think this is a really great beer. It's a really good stout if you're not into stouts and you want to try to see how the other half lives. And if you know how the other half lives and you want to try a little bit more of a beefier stout, a little bit more of a higher ABV stout with a little bit more creaminess and a little bit more of those kind of flavors that you're looking for, then Barrel Aged Nut of Your Business is the one for you to try. All right, friends, that has been Nut of Your Business Stout and its Bourbon Barrel Aged Big Brother. Have you had these before? Do you have some beers you'd like to see get the head-to-head treatment, similar styles, maybe a beer and its Bourbon Barrel Aged cousin or sibling of some version? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free and it's all for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed to the channel. If you have any questions you want answered on an upcoming video, you can leave a voicemail or a text on the Draft Therapy hotline at 224-DRAFT-20, and I'll answer them soon. Also, if you have any intro ideas or little phrases you'd like to see in the intro, if they fit in, I'll use it and I'll credit you on the next one. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.